Good morning, everybody. It's me, San Martin, and Eric Knight of the Prescott Times. Eric, did you get a haircut?
I did not. It's just actually done this morning, and I got up early.
That works out, man. So, Eric, before we get into this crazy, crazy day, I think our headline is Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know what we put up there, but guys, if you're thirsty, this is a great time to go ahead and stay tuned because we got a lot to talk about. So make sure you stay tuned. Anyways, Eric, tell everybody what day it is and what makes it best.
Totally caught me off guard. Wow, I was not prepared for this today. Let's see here. It better be a good one with all the suspense, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you said Thirsty Thursday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. The best one of the group is National Chocolate Covered Nuts Day.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of peanut clusters.
Okay.
I'm definitely a big fan of peanut clusters. There's no doubt about it, man. I mean, you know what, Eric? There is, I really, if nobody knows me yet, but if they do know me, I'm a chocolate fiend, man. Ceci's like, you can't have chocolate in the house. I said, for why? And she goes, because it's temptation to me. I was like, well, stop the temptation. I don't understand why I have to stop eating chocolate because you're eating it.
Do we have a local chocolate shop?
Yeah, it's called the Artisan Chocolate Company or something like that. It's right below Limoncello, and it has.
I remember them going in. I still have not been in there.
Yeah, it's a really, really good place. I think there's a couple other spots, but that right there is the most specific spot out there right now. So I like it. I really do.
I know of the Fudge Company in Sedona. And obviously, we're covering all of Yavapai County. But if you're a Prescott resident or a Sedona resident and go in there and ask for a local discount, they will give you one.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I'm from Prescott. And they're like, as long as we can keep coming to your Costco, we'll give you a discount.
Nice. See, that works out a heck of a lot. Good morning, TC. Good morning, G. I hope I get in it right. It could be G. I don't know. It's two letters, so I don't know what it might be. Just ig. We could just reverse it and go ig. So how do you pronounce that? Good morning, Haley. I was gonna say Kaylee. Okay, guys. So
you're just on it this morning, aren't you? It must be thirsty a little early. I mean, what time is it? How thirsty are you?
I'm thirsty enough to go ahead and wake up in the morning and just call it good. I actually messaged you at 5 o'clock this morning and I said, title of this morning show, Thirsty Thursday. I don't even know where it came from, but I just knew it's Thursday. One of the biggest things that we've actually really, really enjoy about Prescott, Arizona, I did a long time ago, was the bar scene downtown Prescott, Arizona. It was a great place to do this thing they call bar hopping. And so I feel like it's all right. It's not like it used to be where you could go ahead and enter a place of where everybody's like, hey, and hugging and shaking hands, buying each other beers, and taking shots with other patrons. But, in some cases, it's still a little bit more it's a little bit more lenient, more laid back. But at the same time, you still got to follow the CDC rules because they are strictened by the rules of the Yavapai County Health Department and also the alcohol people. I forgot who they are. Anyways, so with that being said, the Thirsty Thursday is a different whole new meeting because in our sense of mind right now is that we are thirsty about information that is actually happening here locally in Prescott, Arizona. And one of the cool things about it, Eric, is that we've been trying our hardest to go ahead and get on the Google publishing. And I think that we finally got it there, but at the same time, we need everybody to help us and support us and go down over to the Google News and to start acknowledging that we are there. Obviously, search for the PrescottTimes.com or the Prescott Times Media, which is both doing really well as far as getting the news out there to our local patrons and people that are upon the community and people that are wanting to live in our community. So thank you guys.
Still see lots of people posting. I'm moving to the area. So growth is big.
Yeah, growth is way big. And it needs to go ahead and calm down just a tad bit. And this makes a lot of things a little bit more relevant towards the thirsty part. So I had an awesome conversation with a man by the name of Mark, and he has been one of the biggest water advocates. He's a scientist. He's basically been all over the place to figure out and understand water and how it works and what is actually going on in our state of Arizona. So the biggest question that we've actually had, Eric, do we have enough water? And that's one of the biggest questions that I asked him. I said, listen, this is not a time to go ahead and talk about is it good for business? It's something that we need to understand. That is it good for our environment? Is it good for our economy? Is it good for our people that are living here in Prescott? And some of the things that people say is that you can't just shut off the border of Prescott, Arizona, and say no, you can't enter here no more. And so therefore, one of the things that we talked about is that if we do have enough water, so the outcome is that we have this outcome, and it actually has to deal with water. Do we have enough water? The question is right now that the question that was answered by Mark was, well, the laws in Arizona are so strict and so particular about water that every 15 years you have to come up with an assessment to see if we have enough water, if our things are actually really working for the people that are actually inhabiting our area. So Prescott is actually coming up to that 15 years of assessment. So what they have to do is backtrack all these years to all the aquifers that we have and all the.
I got a question. I got two questions.
Go ahead.
So the first question is this guy part of the water advocacy group?
No, he is an actual. I really do not know exactly who he is, but he is very knowledgeable about the water laws and what the water is around the world and also our nation.
Well, and my next question is did he say when the last 15 years was, or are we at the end of it, or was it just done last year? Did he have any idea when that last 15-year cycle was?
Well, this is the crazy part, Eric. So we obviously talked to Prescott Individual. I mean, sorry, not Prescott Individual. We talked to the SWAG organization, and they're talking about how the water is diminishing. The water is not plentiful. The water is saturating, and we're not replenishing that water aquifer. And the question that I asked him, I said, so do we have enough water? He goes, we have the best water laws and rules right now. And the thing is that he says that the certificate that has been written was for 100 years for the Prescott area and abroad. So saying that 100 years ago, they wrote a certificate saying we have enough water. We have enough water to go ahead and have whatever amount of people come in. But every 15 years, you have to do the assessment. But what that certificate says is that Prescott and the surrounding areas, Yavapai County or whatever, has to provide water for the people of the county or even in the city itself.
How do they know what the growth is going to look like? Because the growth has been extreme. I mean, for how many years Prescott was under 20,000 people, and then it got to 50,000 people, and actually no, Prescott's not, the whole area, and now it's just explosive. I think we are just about over 100,000 people for the Tri-City area now, right?
Yeah, and this is the crazy part, Eric. This is where the innovation and also the scientific methods that they've been utilizing is actual factual information that is actually helping us. So this assessment is geared towards all of the data that has been collected through our wells and all of our stations that we have. So you see those big old water tanks around the area, Eric?
Yep.
Well, that area, that right there is the place that they take the information, the data, and they collect all this data. And this is what's going to be happening in this 15-year advisement time or whatever they call it. I forgot what I just used. But this is where
assessment. That's what you're going for.
Yeah, assessment. And so at the assessment time, they have to go ahead and come up with the data saying that we have enough water, that the water wells are doing good, and we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing to go ahead and conserve and also protect our environment in a way that obviously we need water. And so they take all that data from the past 15 years, and on top of it, they have to assure for the next 15 years that the water will be just fine. So they said that we are sitting on a great aquifer of water. The water is very plentiful. The water is actually very much there for our liking. But because of innovation and scientific methods, we have actually been able to be a little bit more concerning for the water usage for our area. So basically what has happened is that, have you ever heard of wastewater?
Yep. And the city just put out something about if you're on city water and not city sewer, there's going to be some penalties for that because they want to collect that back.
And the reason why, Eric, is because we it's going to be sounding a little bit weird, but the water that they can go ahead and actually filter and reuse, that's the water that we're using in order for us to take showers, in order for us to do all that. But they send it back into the aquifers get back into the wells, and the wells replenish that water. So they said that the biggest question is this: says, Martine, do you know what the difference was from 50 years ago till now? Do you think we're using more water, or do you think we're using less water? I said, well, I think I actually know this answer, and I'll ask you, Eric, do you think that we're using more water now, or do you think we're using less water?
I think it's about the same because agriculture uses so much water. So I would say we're probably at a point to where it's a wash right now.
It's the same, Eric, from years ago, even with our population growth, even with all these subdevelopments that are being implemented into our counties. The reason why, Eric, they said that because of innovation and because of what they're trying to do is to conserve water, to save water, to reutilize water. So basically, if you guys are not up to date inside of your home, such as your toilet flushing or even your faucets leaking, these are the things that you need to go ahead and maintain and obviously I guess replace in order for you to go ahead and use less water. I don't know if you guys have seen a toilet from way back in the days, but if you flush that toilet, the water would run and it would probably wash out probably 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 gallons of water down the toilet. And now the toilets are now doing just as minimal. So I don't know if you've seen the new toilets out there, but there will be a number 1 numerical, a Roman numerical, or a 2. So basically, number 1 is a number 1, and a number 2 is a number 2. So it gives you the opportunity to conserve that water, and also the refurbishing of water is one of the biggest things that's helping us right now. So. And then my next question out of all of this was, is our water actually good for us? And he says it's the best in the nation. And here's why. And so I said, well, what about the, the press release that they sent out there talking about what the substances are in our water? He goes, well, I'm glad that you asked that too, because obviously all these questions come up, San Martin. But the one thing that actually you need to understand is that if you were to take an aspirin today, the amount of aspirin that you will find in the water, because obviously pharmaceuticals is something that's in the water.
They leach in the water. No, they leach into the water. Yeah.
They leach in the water. But he says it will take you the rest of your life drinking water from the tap in order for you to consume the amount of aspirin that you consumed in one pill. So with that being said, I'm just like, oh, okay, but the consumption of other drugs that get through, such as painkillers and estrogen or even testosterone. I was asking, these questions right here to how in the world do we, consume this without like consuming too much, or does it actually affect us? So these are all great questions. And so I'm going to get Mark to come on and we could talk with him.
Great. Yeah.
And I would love to go ahead and get Swag. I'm going to call it Swag. Swag and him to come on so we could have like a little debate on water, because ultimately you have an organization.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be really good.
So, yeah, you have an organization that's saying water is needed and water needs to be replenished. Water needs to be put back into aquifers. But the thing is, and all our realtors out there are saying, oh, we have enough water for 100 years. Well, that's awesome. But we also still got to think about the water that we are using, it's still, science does still say that it takes 100 years for that water to go ahead and be put back into our aquifers. So it's kind of like innovation versus environmental impact.
Well,
So
and I guess the biggest issue is we're late to the party, right? So Tucson and Phoenix were able to have the CAP, the Central Arizona Project, which brings in a bunch of water to replenish those aquifers from the Colorado River. We are thousands of feet up, right? So that's literally like pumping water uphill, which is already going to be a challenge. And the water's already, spoken for. Like, we can't just say tomorrow, hey, let's pump some Colorado River water in, because that's it. It's already, so we've got two major challenges, which makes it different than the Valley.
Yeah. And once again, we got, like, for instance, Governor Ducey just put out an awesome post saying we are on a roll. And the roll says Phoenix #1 in the nation for growth in home values and rent. And that alone right there is like, that's cool, but come on, look what happened to California. All those people are leaving because of all this craziness that's going on over there. And don't get me wrong, I don't know if it's more of political or if it's more of a population deal. So we got to be watchful for this. I understand that, getting paid and in being a realtor or even a landowner, we have that want and desire to go ahead and achieve the goals of life. But at the same time, it's kind of like we still got to watch out for the impact of people coming to locations such as ours. Because let's just face it, I don't know if anybody's out there going to any of our parks and recreational areas, but whenever you see one piece of trash, you try to times that by however many people are using that trail, and it's like, you got to take care of your land, and you got to take care of your environment. And if we're not doing that as each individual person's supposed to be doing, then we could be part of the problem. So it's not like, for instance, I drink all this water right now. It's not that much, but as I'm sitting here,
your coffee.
Yeah, I once again I already told you about that.
All right, keep going.
As I'm sitting here, this water has not replenished. Okay, so that is something that needs to be told. Now, how do I replenish this water? By sitting here doing this conversation, So it's the same concept that I've always had. Science is awesome, but don't get me wrong. But I did ask him the one question. I said, could it be better? And he goes, of course it can be. And then the question that I will ask him, and it's going to be really intense, because I really want to make sure that us as people here living in Prescott, Arizona, or even all of Arizona, that we understand the conversation about what do we do in order for us to help our children's children and our children after that.
One benefit that we have up here that Phoenix doesn't have is not a whole lot of people have swimming pools out here. And, and so that also kind of helps not sucking down the kind of water that they do in the desert.
Yeah. And as Arizona already knows, we consume a little bit more than most people around the area. So it's one of those touchy subjects, man. But once again, when you use something, guess what? Like, for instance, my coffee, it's not there. I go,
somebody used it.
And then, how do I replenish that? So obviously it's a great conversation that we all need to have. And if you're coming here and moving to Prescott, Arizona, there's some things that you definitely need to understand, is that you don't get an acre full of grass and start watering that full acre of grass, because it just is not an a great environmental impact. It's a desert landscaping is what we like to call it.
And I don't know if you've been out by the lakes. They seem a little low this time of year for the amount of snow we had and stuff, right? Or is it just me? I drove by yesterday and I was like, wow, where'd the water go?
No, well, we are still in a drought. I mean, this is the biggest topic. We are still in a drought. From what Swag says, that we haven't had as much water because we didn't have monsoons last week. We only had two snowstorms this past winter, and we're hoping for more. But we need to have that water come back. So the above ground water is looking beautiful for Eric's likings. So no matter what, guys, when we don't have water, it will impact those aquifers. So this is what the assessment's all about every 15 years. But it's a promise that they have to keep to the citizens of Prescott, Arizona, that they will and have to go ahead and bring that water in so we can be self-sustained here. And hope to God that the aquifers get put in there. So there is those little tricky, quirky little things that
Well,
need to be
I gotta ask. So AED and Save the Dells, all that stuff's voting right now, right? That's why they were in a hurry to replace that council seat. Any news on what's going on there? Because the big deal is water.
It is, and once again, there's all these subdevelopments out there that have had to go through this rigorous assessment. They have to go through some rigorous things in order for them to understand that they could go ahead and give water to their citizens, or even the people that are living in that subdevelopment. One of the reasons why Prescott is involved in it is because Prescott has to oblige by the laws of Arizona and the water rights, and also all the water that needs to be consumed by the consumer. But once again, AED, when they start building those homes, it has to be something that works with the system. And the sewer system is the biggest innovation that we have right now to conserve water. So the I guess the gray water is the water that we could actually recycle. The black water, which is our basically our bad water, we'll just call it that way, is something that we have to decipher. So basically, the water that comes out of
it all goes down the same pipe.
Yeah, it does go down the same pipe, but there is some things that most new homes are actually doing. I mean, once again, Eric, this is something that needs to be done and talked about with even plumbers. Like, hey, plumbers, what can you do to go ahead and maybe we'll bring on a plumber here, saying what kind of things that you used to put into houses that you don't put into houses no more because of water conservations, or even laws that have been implemented for new home builders. Because once again, scientists and innovators are bringing up these things that are helping us and to conserve water, like that number 1, number 2 button on your toilet. For
shower
urine.
Head. You've probably got a shower head, right? One of those that constrict the water so that they don't flow like they used to.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, there's all these new little tools that we should probably know about. So if you have an old home in Prescott and you're still utilizing the toilet from 1970, probably be a good time to go ahead and help out the environment and get a low impact toilet, which uses less water for your liking. And once again, it's one of those things where new inventions are coming out for our liking. So we are actually in a good time of life where innovation has definitely helped out a lot. But once again, we're evolving. So all you inventors out there that have ideas to go ahead and trade up, don't sit back, man. We need you. We need you out here. Those are things that will help us and impact us in the future. And our kids will be able to go ahead and still live amongst our community. It's a crazy story, Eric, but I'm just gonna jump real quick to a squirrel thinking about our kids. So there's this thing on TikTok that I don't know if anybody's has seen, but there seems to be a time traveler TikTok out there, and it starts talking about. Let me tell you what's going to be happening. But they lost me because they said that President Trump would be running for another 4 years, and obviously that didn't go through. So I'm questioning this guy's abilities to predict the future.
Yeah. Well, hey, about predicting the future here, real quick. Just don't forget about the PPP loans. If you own a business and you're under 20 employees, you have a 2-week special period where they're pushing those through above everybody else. And so if even, and the rules are slowly coming out, but you got to work with your banker. But even a company like yours, San Martin, where you've got contractors or events and things like that, you're supposed to be able to qualify for those PPP type loans now. So just to everybody out there, restaurants that, whatever it may be, and you need the assistance to keep going right now, please, certainly, especially local businesses. We don't want to see any more close. I saw another one that there's a shop on Gurley that's closing and selling their building as an art gallery, which is sad to see another one go. So if you need those loans and those help, please reach out and get them. We don't want to see you leave the community.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, maybe you could go ahead and find a couple links and then post them, and then we'll get some help for some of the local businesses out there. And once again, we just put out something from Governor Ducey. It was an actual what was it? I'm sorry. It was. Let me go back, man. It was an actual. They're extending the House approves bill raising in Arizona unemployment. So this is a good thing for some of you guys, but it also could be a bad thing. For some of the business owners out there, because let's face it, a lot of us are having issues with finding good employees to go ahead and feed our deals, our businesses. So the Arizona House of Representatives today approved HB 2805, bipartisan legislation sponsored by Republican Representative David Cook, to raise the state's unemployment weekly insurance benefit amount from $240 to $300, and increasing the income disregard cap from $30 to $160 to allow a total weekly benefit of $460. So one of the things that we're obviously finding right now is that there is an issue with people wanting to stay at home because they're getting paid more. Don't get me wrong. I feel like that's an awesome deal. But if we end up losing that, guess what's going to happen? We'll end up not being able to house everybody coming into our businesses if it goes to 100%. So some of the businesses
we're seeing so many people come to Prescott, post in your group saying, "Hey, I'm moving to Prescott. I don't have a job yet. I'm looking for a rent." It's like, we have a lot of people that don't have jobs yet. So, get a job, then move here. But just so you know, today the numbers just came out, because every Thursday they come out for unemployment, and everybody's excited because it's a 3-month low of 750,000 new people filing for unemployment, and that doesn't include business owners and things like that. And that's so double that number. It's not good.
It's definitely not good. And we're not trying to go ahead and bring bad news, but at the same time, it's helping people with being able to get away from, the jobs that are not there, but it's also keeping people from getting their jobs back. So it's like, oh man, it's a hard balance to go ahead and balance, but some people are working that system and being lazy, and let you guys know, don't be lazy, because you will fall into a pattern. And that's not a good thing. It will drain us, and it will drain all these local businesses in general. So just FYI, guys, I'm going to switch it up real quick. Prescott Valley put out an actual, tally of what has been going on. The headline says, Prescott Valley Police Department notes an increase in domestic violence. And so this is not a good story, but it's something that needs to be talked about. The increase went from in 2019 till today, or even 2020, the numbers came in, it was increased by 45%. So guys, this is not a good thing, and it's something that needs to be dealt with in a very quick and swift manner. This is one of the reasons why sitting at home is not a good thing. People need that space. People need to go ahead and find an outlet. And if you guys do not know how to find an outlet, we ended up putting out a couple of things that you guys could possibly utilize. And Yavapai Family Advocacy Center is probably one of the local locations. Calling, the police department is another way to go ahead and get away from this domestic violence scenario. But it doesn't help, because once again, as soon as they get called out, one person will end up going to jail for 24 hours, which, slaps them on the wrist, but they still got to come back to the same environment that they left. And this is hard. This is hard for a lot of families. This is not just between mother and father. It's between mother and daughter, dad and son. So, guys, this is something that needs to be dealt with, and also in a swiftness. So, if you know anybody that's out there that needs some help or whatever, maybe tell them to go get a job so they could go in.
I agree with you, but it's hard. And those people looking for jobs, don't give up. I mean, I know people that are in the market looking for jobs, and they've applied for hundreds of jobs and not even got a response. And so you've got 10 million people not working right now that are actively looking for jobs. It's going to be a tough job market. So you just got to be persistent. Those are the people that are going to get the jobs.
Yes.
And creative. Or if you can't, start a business.
Yeah. I mean, be creative, be spontaneous, and then definitely do things that you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Well, hey, it's that time already. Can you believe it?
Yeah, man. Of course I can believe it, man. We sit here all day long. So let me go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a brush up of what's going to be what's going to be happening. There's press releases that are happening from the Prescott Times spot. Traffic control. You guys need to hear about that. So go to the Prescott Times to find out more about that. And also, there is scam calls that are happening very, very much more than it's usually supposed to happen. So make sure you know more about that. And also, things that are coming from Waters Garden. If you guys have a beautiful garden that you want to go ahead and put into Prescott, Arizona, this is now the time to go ahead and do so. So anyways, I guess it's that time.
It is. Don't forget, go to the Prescott Times, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Yes, Prescott Times, all that good stuff. Anyway, peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you here tomorrow, Friday. Bye.